little early. The sun is beaming through. Let's do this. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. And how's your morning going, Mr. Trailblazer, gnome, camo Dave looking guy? I'm a little tired. Oh, that's okay. Alright, well, I thought I'd check in on you. See you soon. Wearing the official shirt for today. Good morning, you guys. How the heck are you? It's Clearski. I'm back. If you guys tuned in yesterday, we did the little opening to some of my Simpsons collection. And that was just the toys and kind of the things that I've collected out of, toys and whatnot. But we're going to dabble into something a little different today. We're going to check out some of my autographs and little clips that I've saved. Some of the original Life in Hell fan club items. So it should be a good one. So hope you guys stick around. And we're going to do that again today. So, stay tuned. So, we got dug deep for this one. This is one of the original VHS tapes. Gosh, I'd say circa 89, 90. I would pop one of these in my VHS player and record the Simpsons episodes before they were even out or available. I would sit at night, and these are some of the very first season of the Simpsons on VHS, and I would literally pause for the commercials and record the whole episode. And so I cherish this a lot. This is definitely a keepsake for me. And if I couldn't get to the VHS in time, my parents would help me out. So I have a lot of the Simpsons, a lot of the tapes. I've actually able to save this one over the years. A couple of them went missing, but they're around somewhere. But I would literally sit in front of the TV, pause on the commercials, just to record my favorite show. And then when I'd get home from school, I'd rewatch it that next day and just love every minute of it. I could almost quote every single episode. And that went on for years. I probably did that for 4 or 5 years, and then eventually you could buy the tapes and whatnot. But pretty cool. Pretty cool to see one of these still around, actually. Alright, you guys probably saw a snippet of this in the last clip. This is an official Simpsons poster. Not a sell, but kind of just a poster that Pt.2 sent me for winning the Simpsons Mural contest downtown Portland. Matt actually did a giant mural of the family downtown that was painted. They had to actually use scaffolding for, and they had a contest as what you wanted Bart to say, and out of the thousands and thousands of people that put in their Bart quote, I actually came in second. So Pt.2 sent me this Bart little poster here of the family. Now this isn't actually a Matt Groening autograph. My buddy actually signed this when we were kids. This was up on my wall, and he kind of graffitied the name on there thinking it'd be cool, but really I wouldn't say it ruined it, but I just want you to know that's not actually a Matt Groening autograph. My buddy actually forged that signature a long time ago. But mine was, "Where's all the action, man?" That's what I wanted Bart to say. And what beat my quote was, "Honk if you like the Simpsons," which kind of caused a bunch of traffic stir and whatnot. And then, of course, Homer was choking Bart on the mural. So it was pretty cool. And pretty cool to come home to a big package with a little thank you note saying, "Thank you for entering. You came in second. But since you came in second, we're going to send you these." So I thought that was pretty cool of Matt and them. after a couple of seasons on the air, Bart and the gang teamed up to come and visit the mall here, the Clackamas Town Center Mall. It was a meet and greet Simpsons style. And back then you basically couldn't go anywhere without seeing Bart on t-shirts. I mean, you name the item, they were on it. But these are some of the original pictures from when I very first met the Simpsons. And if you guys can see, the costumes changed tremendously over the years, but these are some of the very first Simpsons costumes before they went on to do the Universal theme parks and whatnot. But this was so much fun, and I specifically remember getting Bart's autograph, which I don't think I still have, but pretty cool to see them in person. I was maybe 10 or 11, so pretty cool, pretty cool. I'll always remember this day. In fact, my mom bought me a giant Bart Simpson cutout that day, and I went home and put it on my wall and was like, ay caramba, man. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of Matt Groening's first pieces or first cartoons, but this is Arkbar and Jeff, one of his creations in the Life and Hell series that Matt did. I believe until about maybe 2015. I'm not sure if he still creates. Maybe once in a while he'll doodle a little Life and Hell character. But these are Arkbar and Jeff. Binky, Bongo, and Sheba were the rabbits. These were Matt's very first creations. In fact, he didn't want to give the rights up to either of these guys when he had a meeting with James L. Brooks. So he decided to scribble out the Simpsons real quick before his meeting, which everybody knows the story now, was a great idea. But these are some of the original Life and Hell times, which was kind of like a, well, it wasn't kind of, it was a fan club, Uncle Matt's fan club. And you could write in, you would send the $2, and they would make a comic every week and send it to you, or maybe every 2 weeks, and they would send it out summer of 1990. And how I found out about these was I actually 411 Bart Simpson as a kid, and the operator laughed and said, no, we don't have a Bart Simpson in Portland. So I said, well, what about a Matt Groening? She said, well, we don't have Matt Groening, but hold the line. And I held the line. She came back about 2 minutes later and told me they did have a Homer and Marge Groening. And when I heard the name Homer and Marge, I said, of course. And back then you could direct connect without having to give the number. Since it was a private number, she just direct connected me, and the phone rang and rang and rang. And eventually this woman right here, Marge, Matt's mom, kindly answered the phone. And I said, is Matt home? And she laughed and said, no. He's actually down in LA working on his new cartoon called The Simpsons. And me and her talked, and I basically told her how I was able to obtain their phone number. And she gave me the address to write to Matt down in Santa Monica, which I believe where he lives. Just bought a house again now. But she directed me to the Life and Hell Times, which every week would feature some of Matt's doodles, updates on what the Simpsons were up to. This is right before, or right after they left the Tracy Ullman show. Matt was still doing his fan club here. You could write in, draw different little characters and whatnot, and they would feature it. But pretty cool. And then they went on to do the Melrose catalog, which was more of an order. You could order calendars, shirts, cups, pretty much anything Life and Hell was available. And I actually went ahead, because if you flip through here, you can see they actually had a little Simpsons section too, from some of the very first Simpsons items that were available. Like I said, the Bart shirt. And pretty cool. Pretty cool to think that after all these years, they're still doing their thing 30 years later. Wow, look at this. Official Simpsons crew jacket. I love it. I actually had ordered that Homer shirt and it glowed. So I was like, way cool back in the 90s. So yeah, Matt went on to do a lot more than just his little catalog here. But I cherish these things like nobody's business. Some of the original Matt Groening items right here. So stick around. More to come. Got me a kind of a throwback to an original Bart shirt. This was done by the Neff Skate Company a couple years ago, but they did a bunch of throwbacks to the original shirt like I just showed you guys in the catalog that you could order. But I also wanted to show you guys one better, and it actually will be a good segue into the next thing. But I got this tattoo here of Kang and Kodos from the Treehouse of Horror Halloween episodes. Gosh, I probably got this about 15 years ago, maybe even longer. But you know you're a diehard Simpsons fan when you actually got them on you permanently. That doesn't wash off. So stay tuned. Fast forward. About 2 years ago, my brother was working at a brewery in downtown Portland, and a guy walked in, and my brother sat down and was just being super chill, seemed like a really nice guy right from the get-go, and then he started sketching all these different Simpsons, more specifically some Barts, and my brother says, "Oh my gosh, that's so good." And I'm not going to say his name, but he goes by Kid Flash. That's kind of his nickname. He may even have a YouTube channel. But yeah, Kid Flash came into my brother's brewery, and my brother explained to him how much of a huge Simpsons fan I was. And so he pulled up a picture of me, I believe from Facebook, and was able to get Kid Flash to draw me these dedicated Simpsons pieces, basically. And then my brother told him, hey, my brother's such a huge fan, he actually got Kang or Kodos, whoever it is, tattooed on him. And so he went ahead and kind of just did a quick rendition of Kang or Kodos there. But I cherish these tremendously, straight from one of the very, very good Simpsons illustrators, Kid Flash. Love it. I myself worked for Stumptown Coffee Roasters, and when I was downtown Portland, I talked to a gentleman at Kenny and Zook's who Matt Groening actually drew a little Homer for, and was talking with one of my former bosses about The Simpsons, who also was a huge fan. Not to mention the guy collected all kinds of cool stuff, but my buddy Kels actually gifted me this for my birthday. If you guys can see, Love is Hell, which was a series that Matt did way before even, I believe it was right as or after the or no, it wasn't after, it was definitely before The Simpsons, right after the Tracy Ullman clips. But Matt would do these cartoon books where he would feature basically all his cartoons that would be featured in different publications throughout LA, which drew the Binky and Bongo, Arkbar and Jeff characters. And if you guys can see here, circa 86. So Matt knew what he was doing. Things were evolving fast, and he did a full series of these. Love is Hell, Childhood is Hell, School is Hell, Work is Hell. But yeah, just classic Simpsons, or classic Groening really, but you can see where the inspiration to a lot of the Simpsons stuff came from. Like, look at this kitchen. Looks exactly like The Simpsons, you know, all of his stuff. And I love these the most because a lot of the humor was straight from Matt's mind, and not writers. So, love the series, love Life in Hell. Definitely cherish this as well. Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger, man. If you guys remember, Bart did a whole bunch of Butterfinger commercials and was kind of the little spokes dude for Butterfinger. You guys can see 1992. And these Butterfinger wrappers featured every single month. And if you guys can see here, the Scorpio, which I am, because my birthday is in October. And then they had each one, Libra, Pisces. But you could catch Bart on pretty much every single Butterfinger commercial. I believe the one with him in Milhouse was one of the very first promotional things that The Simpsons did. But pretty cool. I went ahead and saved the wrappers. But yeah, you couldn't, like I said, you basically couldn't go anywhere without seeing Bart in the late 80s and 90s. But I was a huge fanatic and still am, so definitely saved these. And you don't really see these much. I've seen other collectors have really cool, odd Simpsons things, but I cherish these a lot as well because you just don't see them anymore, man. As a kid, I would literally go through the newspaper. You gotta imagine there really was no internet, so anything that we would get physically with The Simpsons, I would save. I would cut out every single article or any kind of picture, anything I would see of The Simpsons and collect. I had a whole bunch of these from the newspaper. They would run an ad every week as to what The Simpsons was going to be about. So I was an avid collector of basically anything I could find, including these old newspaper cutouts, including this one from the Portland Tribune, which features Marge Groening here, Matt's mom, hanging up a cell in their home, which I actually had the privilege of visiting. This last December, we went up to Matt Groening's childhood home and went to a party from the new owners. But she's hanging this cell up right there in the house that we visited. It was a gift from Matt. Unfortunately, she passed away not too long ago, her and Homer. But to this day, just absolutely love anything Simpsons related. Here's Matt and the gang. There's Matt right here at Lincoln High School, the high school out here in Oregon. And he was part of the journalism class and would do a lot of different comics and artwork. But this paper went in great detail about how Portland used a lot of its street signs. This is Rusty Nails, who was a clown here for many years on TV, that basically Krusty was resembled after. And eventually, once we're going to get up to Rusty's final resting place and talk more about that. But a lot of the Portland people and inspirations for The Simpsons came from Portland. And check this out, they even put one of Matt's high school cartoons in here, the yearbook Yokes. And it looks like the principal or the teacher's saying, "Nobody's leaving this room till I find out who put the thumbnail on my chair." And if you can see, it's the classic Groening. Every face is the same except for the culprit, who's actually dressed as a clown. And he used the same kind of style where each box would be the same for Akbar and Jeff. And then the last, box would be the gag. But I love this paper because it just shows the references of Portland and how Matt created and got the inspiration for a lot of the things. Even just recently, I managed to find this little clip in the Willamette Week, a little paper out here of Matt's, well, I wouldn't say brand new, but most recent cartoon series, The Disenchantment, which was available on Netflix. And I watched the first couple episodes, but I definitely want to get back into watching some more of it. If you guys haven't checked out Disenchantment, Matt Groening's latest, newest creation, highly recommend it. So we're 20 minutes in. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' day, but I would just show you a couple more items here that I saved throughout the years. These are the original Simpsons Illustrated, which was a comic released about 2-3 times a week, or I'm sorry, about maybe 2 times a month, and it would basically, oh look at that, Bart Simpson versus the Space Mutants. I actually own that game as well on Nintendo. You can see that how old this magazine is from the original Nintendo. But basically this would have little pullouts, different Simpsons collected things, and Matt always did a great job of changing out the cover. And like I said, I had basically every single one of these, maybe first series, and it was kind of harder to keep up with because they started going into Bongo Comics and all the other ones. But this is the very first premiere episode or issue of Simpsons Illustrated, with Bart there doing the classic chalkboard scene. I will not read this magazine in class, man. Picked this up in grade school. That's how long I've owned this. And all my friends knew how much I collected, basically all the gear. I think I even had pretty much all this stuff at one point. All the buttons. Maybe not all the shirts, but a couple of the hats. And this was a, oh, even, look at this old Bart I drew. But this would go over how the Simpsons started, all the different inspirations, including the Honeymooners, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, everything that he basically used and watched as a kid. Leave It to Beaver. Just basically gave a rendition of the background on how the Simpsons were created, and then it showed all the different items and what, you know, where you could find them, the different nostalgia pieces. Basically, like I said, here's a store, Spencer's Gifts, at JCPenney back in 1990. You could get shirts, hats, buttons, door posters, boxers. I mean, Simpsons stuff was everywhere. Here's Matt. Looks like he's enjoying a boat there, drawing some of his original sketches. But that's going to do it. I just wanted to kind of take you guys into my collection and show you a little bit more of what I've collected over the years and things that I cherish. So I appreciate you guys tremendously for always tuning in. And I'm going to grab another little sip of my coffee here, and then we'll do a final check-in. Stay tuned. That really is super good Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in for part 2 of this. Just a tidbit of my Simpsons collection. Definitely a lot more. But I definitely don't want to spend all day showing you guys stuff. There's definitely a lot more things we can be doing. Make sure you guys are keeping your social distancing and stay safe. Stay inside if you can. And find something to do. There's definitely a lot of things you can do to stay safe and stay healthy. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have any cool Simpsons things. Maybe some of your favorite episodes or Simpsons memories. But until then, I love you guys a lot, and we will see you soon. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. You can ring that little bell. That way when I creep, you guys be the first to creep. But until then, peace, you guys.